الو
هاي سلامات، شلون كويس؟
ان شاء الله انت كويس يا اخي.
والله يا اخي انا تمام يا اخي. شكرا ادوارد.
مرحبا بك وسعيدين نشوفك، وطبعا انت اطلعت على الورقه بتاعت الايو وقدامك. انا طبعا كلمت فوقه كتير، مرحبا بك، تفضل اخي.
كده في البداية كده أنا أسلم عليك ونحييك ونحيي المشاهدين بتاع ممبر بتاع شوط الشعب. خلينا نتكلم بإنجليزي.
Yeah, you welcome.
Thank you very much.
كده عشان انت تستمر, let me actually welcome my brother Chanquas, and maybe he is willing to join us. He's a member of IO, and we are discussing the update position of the SPLM SPLAIO concerning the situation in South Sudan. So yes, this is our topic, and if you have time, please try to come in and to contribute. I'm going to share the link down here to anyone is coming in. The good thing also, we speak in English, so those are coming now, the English speaker that we take from you.
Yeah, true. I mean, let me, from the onset, I try to agree with you on before I come to your topic, let me agree with you that indeed the problem of diaspora is emanating from Juba, and some of us are actually witnesses to it, because when we came to the diaspora here, especially after 2013, we came and found that the situation is really polarized, and then they were saying, whatever happened there has really, managed to agitate and to disturb, the harmony between the people. So you are really right, because South Sudanese and they had an experience of the last 21 years. Some of these people were forced to leave their country because of the brutality of the regime in Khartoum, and a lot of them have really stood nail in tooth with the SPLM, only to be betrayed by the same party that they have stood with them all these years. And that is why precisely, the people who decided to emerge, the IO and the other opposition body from the onset of this movement was actually the people of the diaspora itself, because they felt that they had really been betrayed. Having said that, let me come to your topic. When you look, and these are some of the things that we have basically said from the onset of the agreement, that the agreement was actually made so difficult to be implemented. And it is not in the interest of the government, for example, to implement this agreement because of the reservation that Salva Kiir has attached to the agreement, one, and because he has also said that he has signed, a BAT agreement in 2015 and in 2018, respectively. So these notions will continue to go with him unabated, unless or otherwise he's being forced to do the otherwise. And these are some of the things that we are not even seeing it within the IGAD mechanism. And we are saying very well that perhaps the agreement might have been negotiated on a good faith. And I totally agree with you on some of the mechanisms that has already been put in place, because if you looked at why the agreement was actually being extended, it's so pertinent. The agreement was being extended because of pertinent issues in the agreement itself, which is actually enshrined in both Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And this is actually the security arrangement and the violations of the agreement that Salva Kiir has done in the proclamation of the 32 states. Because of these outstanding issues, the agreement was not able to go forward. So we are saying, and if we are to ask ourselves, are those things still there? The answer will always be yes. So then why do we have to accept and expect that, something magistically is going to happen, or magically is going to happen, which will actually change the political dispensation that is on the ground? Because we have seen already that even in the 100 days that was being lately extended, the threshold that the agreement has talked about, that at least half of the forces that is supposed to constitute the nucleus of the security, to protect the agreement, has not been realized. And that has always been what we've been talking. And I am very happy that the IO have managed to put these things on the paper to the government across and to the mediation. That indeed, you have those outstanding issues. And if these outstanding issues is not being realized, then at least we don't have to expect that even come 22nd of February, people are going to form the government of national unity. I was hearing that in the meeting that is supposed to be convened from yesterday, the arrival, and today, and up to the 5th, and coupled with the visiting of the president to South Africa, which you have already alluded to, they said perhaps the issue of the third state will be realized. And then, because we have been hearing, how Salva Kiir was talking with the J Council of Elders, and the quarrel that, some of the intels that we are hearing from Juba. But again, even if the issue of the 32 states is being resolved, and then the country has to go back to the 10 state that is originally, then one of the issues that is going to be actually so a concern is the issue of the security arrangement, because Salva Kiir believes, and I agree with you on most of the things that you have said, Salva Kiir believes in the power of the military. Salva Kiir believes that the only way they can be able to live in that government is to use the military might. And by the way, all dictators are like this. It is not a surprise. Gaddafi was actually a dictator that was living on the military might. Hosni Mubarak built an autocratic state in Egypt, where the security was apparatus is actually the protective. The same thing with Saddam Hussein, because all these guys are fearing. And when you look at actually the security built up around Salva Kiir, speaks to volume that the guy is indeed, he's really afraid. And that is why he's now promoting generals, that is so allied to him. Building up a force, amassed by Shabab militias from his region, because he believes that it is only in his region, it's only in the people that is near to him, to his brothers, cousins, that they can actually get refuge, because these people will never betray them. Any other person else's, they will not have trust in them. So I am now of a hope, and we wanted to encourage the IO to stick in this position, because if Riek Machar is going to do something, unless or otherwise, he's also done, because we know very well that the government is not interested in building and in training also of the forces, because we have said that all these delays is arbitrary. It's not out of it is by design. We have talked of the lack of political will.
Dominic,
right?
Continue. Huh? I'm coming. Continue.
It's okay.
You will not see me on the screen, but you continue.
Yeah, we know very well that this thing is done by design. It is not out of the blue. The release of the fund, because if Salva Kiir is actually, interested, he would have released the 40 million. And this 40 million is actually because we have heard that it was not released all, and even if it was released, it was under the control of the people, a few individuals like Tutkew and also Martin Elia. And we have known very well that the use of this money is actually there to buy loyalists. And that is why we have decided to see the likes of Johnson, James Ochan Poth, who is now fighting the IO in the areas of Mayut. We have also said that, no any dictator will wanted to champion the cause of his antagonistic counterpart. And Salva Kiir will not do that. Salva Kiir will not train, these unified forces so that eventually, if something happens, these forces will be used to actually, fight him. And we have said this thing extensively. That for those of us who know it, the training of these forces will change the democratic nature of the forces of Salva Kiir, something that he doesn't not wanting. Because he will want to maintain the dominancy of the forces. And that is why in 2015, they were able to delimit, because all of us knew very well that IO went to Juba with only 1,500 strong men with lighter weapons and ammunition. And that is why they were not able to resist, the fight in 2016. Yes, they fought for 2. The third day, they were able to withdraw. Because sooner or later, they will be running actually from their supplies and their logistics of war. Whereas Juba is actually the stronghold of Salva Kiir. So nobody is going to fight somebody in his stronghold. They say if the eagle wanted to fight the snake, will only find the snake in the air. And they are using the same mantra. You bring these people to Juba, so that at least you fight them in Juba. Because then they will not be near. Yes, the agreement of talked of the declaration of disposition of forces. That at least the number of the forces on each side of the political divide need to be known. Whether this is the SSPDF, whether this is the IO, the SOA, and of course the other the other opposition groups. If they want to join the fight, then they also have to declare, their forces. But this is something that the government is refusing all along because it doesn't want to declare. They don't want the capacity of their forces to be known because of one fact. That the intention that we have seen in 2016, it is still holding. I agree with the fact that, Juba need to be demilitarized because that was what is in the agreement of 2015.
Yes.
The agreement of 2015 talks of demilitarization of Juba. And then a joint police has to be trained so that they have to take care of the city itself. This is something that was not in the revitalized axis. The revitalized axis, in fact, has given, another dispensation, But of course, unless, the union mistake control, like what they have said, because of one particular fact, the SPLAIO has an experience of 2016. Inta naman da biba da abdik marra wahid, inta tani marra wala naman tukub da biba mashi sak bin bayt, ita bitakhla. Because you know very well that this thing is deadly. And that is the attack. اللي أصلاً قاعد يعملوا جماعة دل. إذا هم ما عملوا كده, the intentions of Salva Kiir and the lives of Kolkur is very clear. They will try to actually, abrogate the agreement. I agree that the detention centers. Some of us were in the Blue House. We know very well that there were a lot of people. Some of them actually died. You cannot come and actually, free some few people and then you call it that, we have released all our political detainees, we don't have them. Whereas a lot of people were actually, arrested arbitrarily, based on the desires. It اختلفت مع زول زي ما انت قلت Edward ساكت بس Modubita Benaya circuit, the next time you will find yourself you are in Blue House. And this is some of the things that must be stopped. Okay. Therefore, going forward again, we need also to say these things. That the reforms that we wanted to take place in the country is particularly important. This is something that people don't have to compromise of it or over it because of one fact. When we fought the wars of liberation, we fought the wars of liberation because of marginalization, because we need a free nation, a democratic country. We fought this liberation war because we thought that our voices were being choked by the regime of the successive regime of Juba. We cannot compromise or to accept that some of these things should happen in a free country like South Sudan, a country that we all fought for. So this is as a window of opportunity. That as people of South Sudan, we have to resist all attempts, by the government in Juba. We need to now also lobby. We have to lobby with the IGAD. We have to lobby, with the international community. We have to lobby with, people of goodwill, so that at least, the government in Juba, has to be, brought to its sense, so that at least they should know very well that the people of South Sudan is greater than their egos and their interests. Now, I'm not really convinced with these issues of the C5 and the arbitration thing that they have suggested. I mean, that is their position. It is good for them. Let them actually defend it tooth and nail. But this should not be a statement that says that in the event, all these things fail, then we have to revert these things to the C5. Because we know who are these C5. These C5s are the members of these African countries. And these are clones on themselves. These guys, they can be bought. These are the guys who can also compromise. I believe they don't know the issue of this country, South Sudan, better than some of us. We are authors of our political history, and we know it better than any person in the region. What should be actually the best alternative out of this mayhem that we have seen? We say we have a problem in the leadership of the SPLM, and within the leadership of the SPLM, the failures of the leader Kir himself. And then going forward, we have a problem in the constitutions of this country. We need a political reform that is so drastically in creating a democratic space in South Sudan. And we have said this thing extensively. That even within the 22 days of the end of the second extension, we are not going to see anything tangible, out of this agreement that we are to experience. So, my brother, in a nutshell, I would like to thank you for your show today. Your show has been really great. The analysis that you have really brought is true to the effect. And just to comment on what Awud has said, I totally agree with you. Because, to be honest with you, my brother Edward.
Yes.
Yani, for you to invest in South Sudan, or in any country for that matter, it needs peace. A total peace. Let alone investment in strategic, resources like oil, mineral that they are talking about. So if the government of Salva Kiir is even agriculture, the agriculture that you wanted to produce, because people are talking of South Sudan being the breadbasket. It's part of the Sudan because of we are actually sharing in this bread basketing thing of the Sudan. You also need a peace, because we have seen what the Matianganyors and the Durkot Benya have done actually. In important areas. What did you say?
Just give me 1 minute. Namoga, are you hearing me? Huh? Yeah, continue. Sorry.
But even if you look at areas like Yei, areas like Ngomoromo, the actually areas, those of the areas of Magui in particular, these are very productive areas that would have at least turned the lives of our people. But because of the war, South Sudanese cannot even cultivate. So even if you go to America, you go to Russia, and talk about the strategic resources, how are you going to develop it unless you wanted these countries to come and clear, the people out of this land so that they can find an empty, areas, and then they will come and do their investment in it, And your warning is actually true to the effect, because why did the European in 25th of August 1865 in Berlin decided to redivide Africa? But they redivide this Africa because of these resources. Now, for you to come and talk of these resources, you're actually inviting pirates so that they can come, And by the way, when we are not also conversant, of the whole political, rivalry between America and Russia, and you're now going openly about such things, you are talking, then you're also risking your relationship, with America. And I don't know, maybe they're doing these things because of currently the American, pressure on them, like what the Khartoum government is used to do. So people must also be very cognizant of their strategic interest, For you cannot just come and talk of, all these resources that is in the ground will only be meaningful if there is peace. And I'm a geologist, and I know very well that talking about, we have oil in this place, we have gas, it's also another fallacy of the time. Because unless you do exploration, the likes of Zakaria Audio is there, they are listening. Unless you do exploration, and you decided to discover, then you can talk of one fact that I have this and this. Today, we have not even appraised our lands. We didn't appraise our natural resources. So sometimes assumption is actually not the right thing to do. When you talk of gases, we have associated gases. So I don't want to deviate from your topic. But indeed, we need to tell the IEO that yes, you have signed an agreement. And an agreement with the government. You have to implement this agreement. If there is will, it's okay. But you have all along you have known that there's no will within the government. So flocking a dead Mexican horse is not going to help. It is not going to